I know that asking for help is a difficult thing for many people. I, luckily, am not usually worried about doing that. For me, asking for help is so fun. Taking on a challenge with another person instantly makes it all worth doing. Or, if it's more of a problem than just a challenge, it gives me the opportunity to get an outside perspective instead of feeling so overwhelmed. But right now I can't ask anyone I know for help. It's not the sort of problem I can ask friends to help with without sounding crazy, so I need your help to decide. Should I go into my girlfriend's art studio? So, for context, my girlfriend is an artist. A really good artist. Painting, sculpting, crochet. She does anything that she felt she had to express herself. And honestly, not to seem entirely materialistic, but the money she would get from commissions or selling her pieces gives us the needed leeway so that I could find a job I liked instead of one that pays a ton, but is super soul destroying. I work at a theme park, one I won't name for internet safety, but I work in the entertainment department in a dinosaur show, pretending to be a Steve Irwin type of character, but less cool and more of a lesbian. So overall this setup is awesome. Now that you understand all that, it's time to get into the actual issue. There are 2 months of the year that I don't work due to the fact that the park is closed in the months following New Year. I thought, perhaps, earlier this year during my extended break, that I'd get to hang out with my girlfriend, catch up on all the horror movies I've been recommended, and hopefully, if timing's allowed, propose to the love of my life. It was 2 weeks and that I realized that despite working from home, my girlfriend spends her entire life in her studio, which is a spare downstairs bedroom we converted for her, from 8:30 a.m. to 7, 8, or sometimes even 9 p.m. at night. She's working on her latest project. I decided, seeing as she's working so hard, to try and paint her something. It wasn't great. It was a worm that became an astronaut, floating in space. She likes that sort of thing. I felt like 10 minutes was an okay amount of time to distract her, so I approached the studio door and knocked. The first thing I noticed was that my knocks echoed. Faint rumblings rippled out from the door into the walls. I swear I didn't hit it that hard. I'm actually super weak. Usually she would have responded by now, so I faintly called her name. Lucy, Lucy, Footloose, can I come in? I heard a very faint reply from inside. I couldn't hear if she said yes or no, but I was honestly starting to get worried, and I slowly opened the door. I stepped into a world unknown to me. The entire room was filled with trees, vast trees that, through what I hope was forced perspective, formed a great canopy. About 40 feet above my head, a giant elephant stood in the middle of the room, completely motionless, frozen in time. I know deep down that it's just a statue, but even deeper down lies the fear that it wasn't. The worst part of this jungle was the heat. I don't know how she got it to be this temperature. I couldn't see the window behind the wooden trees that seemed to go on and on for rows behind this. Despite the enormity of my surroundings, I was still deeply aware that all of this was in the space of one medium-sized room, and that combination seemed to make this vast jungle scene incredibly claustrophobic. How the hell did she make this? How was she gonna get it out? All these thoughts echoed in my head like the knocks on the door. I decided, unnecessarily cautious as it may seem, to creep my way behind the elephant, to make my way towards the walk-in closet she uses for her art supplies, and get her to stop hiding. I start my 10-feet trek, but I swear I hear bird calls, and I immediately stop. Must be a speaker. In the corner of my eye I see a figure, not human, dark and sleek, leaping from the treetop, with a glint of white teeth. I was frozen in place. It's only when I heard a growl that I turned around. Nothing. Must have been the heat making me crazy. I got to the far wall and demanded she come out the closet. Not like that. The door opened, and where I expected to find my smug girlfriend, I saw a tunnel. My brain swam with endless thoughts. Why is there a tunnel in my closet? How did I not know? What is that behind me? Before I realized what I was doing, I ran into the tunnel and slammed the door behind me, hoping that whatever big cat I hallucinated can't open doors. I walked into the tunnel, illuminating it with my phone torch and hoping the light would cast over my girlfriend so I could get at least some answers. Unlike the studio, this room was cold and damp. The walls are dark gray and stony like a cave, and I felt gross putting my hand on them as they dripped with condensation, or worse. I got to what I'd say in hindsight was about halfway through when I saw it, a human leg, half-eaten, and pooling with dark red blood that slunk towards me as if there was a slight incline. I stepped towards it, and it's only when I'm about 2 feet away that I realize what I'm seeing. Crochet. She crocheted a human leg somehow and put it here to frighten me. There's one problem with that explanation though, the red liquid pooling from it. I decided now to call her name again. She answers me, "Oh hey babe, I'm in here, just at the end of the tunnel. Don't worry, you're safe. All the limbs are fake." I realized then that about 10 feet ahead of me the entire floor was full of these crocheted body parts, and I'd have to climb them to get to her. That would be fine. What wouldn't be was the smell. I don't know how, but these fake woolen limbs smelled like what they were supposed to be. Intense sense of rotting meat and decay emanated from their soft woven skin, and all of them felt wet. I climbed over them and crawled into the room where Lucy waited. This room was genuinely huge, not fake large like the jungle. I had entered a giant barn, constructed with wooden planks. It seemed to go up higher than any barn I'd ever seen. A hollow skyscraper, and I could tell through the orange sunlight peeking in through the gaps in the wood that it was nearing sundown. I checked my phone. It was 2 p.m. The thing I immediately noticed was the floor, as the hay hurt my hands. When I crawled in over the limbs, the entire floor was made of hay, some places woven together and seemingly stable enough to support mine and Lucy's weight, and the rest being large pools of loose hay. I'm about to ask Lucy what's happening when I see its head poking out of the hay pool in the center of the room. It's completely hairless and rounded like the end of a hot dog, with pale clammy skin. Its thin, lipless mouth reaches from ear to ear, or at least if it had ears it would have. 2 tusks reached upwards out his mouth at about 45 degrees, and the tips of them were level with its pig-like snout. The worst part, however, was above the nose. It had human eyes, astoundingly blue, clearly human, but with none of the empathy or understanding you'd usually see from a member of our species. I couldn't see anything below its neck. What the hell is this, Lucy? What the hell is going on with any of this? I'm so confused. I just wanted to bring you this painting, but now I'm in this place. That's a very nice drawing, baby. I can put it up in the angel room. Do you want to meet the angels I've made? Her smile seemed genuine, like she had no idea why I was so concerned. I couldn't handle it. No, Lucy, I just want to go back. I just don't understand how this could even fit an arc in that thing. Stop looking at me. She only said one thing. "Oh, Ellie, that's just the bull." Before I had a chance to ask what kind of bulls have ever looked like that, it started to stand up. As hay toppled from its huge body, so did skin, falling onto the floor, revealing giant pulsing musculature that formed this hulking nightmare. I'm sure some of the freaks out there are wondering, so I'll just say now, I didn't see its genitals. I turned and ran, scrambling into the tunnel behind me, and dropping my painting so I had both hands free. I could hardly focus on anything as I heard its squeals and roars behind me. I clamber over the limb pile, but I feel it touch my leg, and I jump. I fully hit my face on the stone floor and passed out. When I woke up, I was on the sofa. Lucy sat next to me with painkillers. After we checked Google to see if I had a concussion, we had a serious talk. I explained my plan to propose, and that I don't know if I can marry her if she keeps eldritch horrors and impossible spaces in our house. She promised to explain everything to me if I gave her 6 months to finish the project. Well, now it's approaching that time, and honestly my life returned completely to normal, the only change being that I don't go into her studio. So I'm just hoping anyone could help me decide whether or not to see the finished product. I honestly really like her.